I think we're live. And thank you for watching. Sound check, light check, computer check. Hey, thanks for watching once again. And we appreciate you subscribing to Not Just Ninjas, adding your ideas to this channel, the whole bit. Everything helps. We have gotten this little startup brand that we're building to get to over 3,400 subscribers. And every little bit helps. Every little idea, every comment, every like, every share helps. And what we're doing today is we're doing the birthday tributes. And why does Not Just Ninjas do birthday tributes? Well, it's because the calendar is really honest, and it takes people that otherwise may have no connection, no shared background, no shared path, but it groups them together into this unified legend that they all did something remarkable in its own way, in its own industry, and they're tied together by that seemingly arbitrary calendar day. And that gives you something in common with some of these people who have achieved, let's call it greatness, influence, iconic status, made their mark in history. And we've pulled together a list of people on any given calendar day, any given month. Hey, if you're not born the same day, maybe you were born the same month. Maybe you're also the same zodiac sign. That's something to celebrate right there. Just say, hey, this, what do is there somebody who's achieved something that I really have in common? I don't see that. What is that, Jack? Hola. Um, Hang on a second. I need to interpret something. Oh, it is. It's 12:30. That means we don't have much time. We appreciate you watching this little quick summary. Speed this thing right along. You're right. It is 12:30. So we're going to continue these birthday tributes for December the 30th. Your birthday is December the 30th. You know what you are? Well, you're a Capricorn. Common traits of Capricorn. You're going to see some of these traits: discipline, ambition, patience, responsibility, and a long range vision that was shared by some of these people through their passion. They also had a long range vision and hard work and focus. We're going to start with December 30 birthdays, and we're going to get into this list. Let it fuel you, motivate you, or just give you something interesting. Maybe you are a writer. Sometimes when I look at these lists that we make, I'm like, any one of these people, especially not one of the main, oh my God, I know exactly everything about that person. That's somebody who's, uh, we know everything about. Even them, there's always something you don't know. Every single one of these people would probably make a damn interesting film or screenplay if you really dug into it and just tell a human story. It doesn't have to have any agenda. It's just like, my God, what's going on with this person? Our first one, born December 30th. We're going to go to 1913, Baltimore, Maryland. Ever heard of Marge Hurlburt? Well, at some point, she was the fastest woman alive. She'd flown fastest woman pilot alive. She reached a speed of 337 miles per hour, and she became uh, an aviator in all different manner of the Air Force service women pilots back in the day, back in the early to mid 1900s. She set multiple airspeed records. She flew experimental aircraft for the Air Force and the air services. One of the weirdest things I read about, she must have had freaking courage and quite an adventurous spirit. They needed somebody to get in a big plane and tow little planes that were going to be shot at by pilots in training. So she would tow targets. She was like, "Yep, I'll do it. We're going to be up there. I will tow a freaking target that you can shoot at." And that's what I'm saying. Like, would that be a good screenplay or movie to see how somebody gets into that when they're born in Baltimore in 1913, and somehow their passion for aviation and engineering just takes them on that path. I think it's pretty amazing. She ended up doing something that was kind of experimental, and died doing what she loved, crashed and burned. But so R.I.P. Marge Hurlburt. Not the I looked it up, and it's not the namesake of Hurlburt Field. I guess there was another Hurlburt aviator who also uh, died in a crash, and that air base was named after him. But could have been after her. Maybe she should get a little plaque up there as well. Seems like she put in some time helping out. Her quotes from Marge Hurlburt: "Flying teaches you precision and not fear." And she says, "You trust your preparation. You can't trust luck, but you can trust your preparation." Cool quotes. All right, after Marge Hurlburt, we're going to go to 1928. We're going to go to Mississippi, Macomb, Mississippi. And maybe you've heard of a guy named Bo Diddley. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. So legendary guitar player, influence, put his stamp on this type of blues that influenced rock with that their guitar, and just gave you that sound that it just seemed like people are going to have some whiskey, going to be in that club, and this guy is going to pour the human experience into a freaking song, and they're going to sit there and enjoy it. And that rhythm, when I was a little boy, that at the age of 5, that rock, right? That boldness. And of course, later it became really recognized that just how talented he was on that guitar. People started to really take note. And we have, let's see, his rhythm and pattern became, they say, the backbone for what was like this blending of rock and blues. Big time influenced the Rolling Stones. Buddy Holly has an interesting quote. Buddy Holly, you don't think of, like, who's just like Bo Diddley? Buddy Holly. But he was one of the people that said, like, he changed Bo Diddley's rhythm. Buddy Holly said, changed how we thought about writing rock songs, calling his influence the missing piece between blues and rock. And that's pretty cool. The Rolling Stones repeatedly credited Bo Diddley as the foundation to their sound. Even George Michael was obsessed, I guess, as a fan of Bo Diddley. And Eric Clapton said his influence is impossible to escape. You must admit that you are influenced by Bo Diddley. His songs were the one I was just playing, "I'm a Man," "Who Do You Love," and another song just called Bo Diddley. He said, his quotes from Bo Diddley: "You don't steal a beat, you feel it." He said, "I was ahead of my time, and that was a lonely place." Interesting. Well, thank you, Bo Diddley. Happy birthday. Now we're going to go to 1935, Brooklyn, New York. Sandy Koufax, just what a baseball name. Legendary Major League Baseball Hall of Fame pitcher for the Dodgers. One of the most dominant peaks in sports history, they say. So no matter what the sport is, when Sandy Koufax was in his prime, peak Sandy was like an unstoppable force. 4 no-hitters and a perfect game. These are very rare things. 3 Cy Young Awards in 4 seasons. He retired early due to an arm injury, but excellence of Sandy Koufax, that name will go down in history in sports and in baseball. And just precision and knowing when to stop is what he was kind of known for. He said pitching is the art of instilling fear. Interesting. I've never watched any highlights of Sandy Koufax. I'd like to see what that really looks like. To see somebody who that's their philosophy. Pitching is the art of instilling fear. He stare dudes down in the batter's box, make them scared of what he was going to do. He said experience doesn't need longevity to be real. No, excellence. Sorry, let me correctly. Excellence doesn't need longevity to be real. Interesting that he said that. Um, you can be excellent, and there's a lot of excellence that didn't have the longevity, but we can still sit back and appreciate, like, oh my God, appreciate, enjoy it while it lasts, because nobody can last, especially in a major sport, football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Injuries get to you, age gets to you. So enjoy it while you can. We're going to go now from Sandy Koufax to 1954 in Adelaide, Australia. This uh, roboticist and engineer named Rodney Brooks um, put a put a, an interesting perspective on the study of robotics and the control of robots. He helped make this type of robotic command that would be responsive and program them in order to not follow step-by-step instructions, but to respond to certain different commands in real time. And his company, one of the company that he co-founded was iRobot. They gave us the Roomba. And yeah, as we can all see, robots are taking over. Not taking over. They're going to help out. They're helping out quite a bit. But Rodney Brooks, Not Just Ninja, born this day, smart guy, AI and robotics. And his one of his quotes is, "Complexity is the enemy of progress." Interesting. So simplifying, simplify. That seems like the converse of that would be simplicity is the friend of progress. Um, Interesting. The other thing he said, kind of a design philosophy, is build something that works before something that thinks. Make it work, then maybe we can make it think, huh? Interesting. All right, now we're going to get into this is kind of cool. The next two ninjas born on this same day. 1975, Tiger Woods, Cypress, California, professional golfer, transformed golf in the PGA. 15 majors championships, dominated people physically and mentally. They just couldn't hang with him. And I think I was in either high school or college when Tiger Woods started coming on the scene, and people couldn't get enough of him. I mean, that, like, kind of old folks. I think my grandmother lived on a golf course type of area, and she had every now and then had golf on TV. But when Tiger was playing, she just couldn't miss it. It just swept the nation, like Nike. I mean, kids playing golf all of a sudden. Um, yeah, changed the game. 15 majors championships, and just a career arc that had dominance. I mean, he collapsed for a while. He had to rebuild, and then he made a historic comeback again after that collapse. One of Tiger's quotes is, "Achievement is not always winning," and another one is, "I learned to enjoy pressure." That's crazy. It doesn't look like you're enjoying it when you're under pressure, but according to Tiger, he learned to enjoy the pressure. And so, is he the GOAT? I think you'd have to put his name up there as like one of the greatest golfers of all time, one of the greatest athletes of all time. The next one, possibly one of the greatest of all time in his sport. Same day, this is a trip. LeBron James, Akron, Ohio, 1984. Four-time NBA championship winner, all-time leading scorer in the NBA. He's still playing today after over 20 seasons. Um, he has taken care of himself enough and done this like kind of minutes management to still be effective and have that longevity that we talked about just a minute ago. But he has done a lot of things. He's built the I Promise School, the Spring Hill Company, Uninterrupted. These are some of the things that he has established. But LeBron James, is he the best? Is he better than Jordan? Who? who cares? He's a physical presence. He has given us moments throughout 20 years plus in the NBA, that are just remarkable. When you think that there were stretches of many years that he was either the points leader in the NBA, or he was the MVP, or he was in the finals or winning the finals. Like, his name was always there for what, 10, 15 years in a row. Um, that good, that dominant. So Tiger Woods and LeBron, both born the same day. Nobody really has ever told me that. All right, and now we're going to go to 1986, totally different category and industry. Ellie Goulding, born in Hereford, England, singer, songwriter, pop innovator. She blended folk with this electronic club music, turning it into like a new thing that you could sample in there and have features with rappers, or it could be more of like a traditional, singer songwriter sound to it as well. So it's a cool blending, and I just think Ellie Goulding is. If I had a trapper keeper, if I had a locker right now, I think I'd have a picture of Ellie Goulding on there, because yes, she's known for just emotional precision, sonic experimentation. Like I was saying, some of her key songs were "Lights," "Burn," "Love Me Like You Do," and she said, "I never wanted to sound like anybody else." And she said, "Growth comes from discomfort." We love that at Not Just Ninjas. You're going to have to do things that you haven't done to get more value than you have ever had. And you have to risk something in order to feel something. After Ellie Goulding, we go to 83 in Massachusetts, Holliston, Massachusetts. Oh, freaking this guy, Kevin Systrom or Systrom. He built Instagram. So if your birthday is shared with him, that's an example right there. You might be freaking Tiger Woods. You might build Instagram. Um, Programmer, went to school at Stanford, and was one of these types of situations where you're programming new things that had never been possible before, and you're making them streamlined, and you're building it for the user experience. And then, when they got Instagram up and running, it was purchased by Facebook for such a large amount of money that he was able to go on and do more things, and try more products, more companies. But that had quite an effect on on the rest of us. I'd say Instagram. You might be watching this on Instagram. You might be watching this on YouTube. Thank you for subscribing and sticking with us. His Kevin Systrom's quotes are: "Growth without direction is noise." Interesting. And he said the product should disappear into the user's life. It's just part of who I am. I'd say maybe Instagram kind of has done that. Sometimes I think that, like, hey, if it's not on my Instagram, I'm the only one that knows it happened. Is that enough? Do more people need to know this happened? Wow, what a big. That wasn't even that long ago. When you really think about it, you go back 20 years, there is no Instagram. Things look largely the same kind of world, same kind of economy, same kind of everything. By and large, technology, there's been some advances, but what products like Instagram have done, it's pretty profound. Anyway, that's December 30th. Ninjas born on the same day. Thank you so much for subscribing. That really helps us out as we work to continue building this. So, namaste.